You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jordan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Boom! That's exactly it. Do that. Let's do that.
Yeah. Get your we're gonna unmute you here, Dan. You got to unmute yourself.
You know, there's professionalism right there. You see that? I love the beginning of that. I'm telling you what, sometimes you don't watch what you do, but that first sentence, you got one life. You might as well give it all you got. I mean, if you just get nothing else but that, I mean, that's just money right there. I can't stand it. It's true. Anything less than that is living, less than your potential, less than life.
Right.
It's kind of that simple. Daryl Perel. Hey, listen, if you're watching from anywhere, say hi, put your name. I'll say your name. Look, Henry Hawkins. Look at Henry Hawkins hanging out with the Deej and Chris Stone right here. This is great. These are people that are giving it all they got. They're actually getting it out there instead of just putzing around, pretending like, hey, let me watch a video. They're actually getting engaged. That's like living.
Well, these things are not about, like, everybody's like, are you team live? Are you team replay? I mean, team replay is okay. I mean, you got stuff going on. Well, man, team live that's where it's at, man. That is where it's at. That's where you get the secret, like this guy, Daryl Perry, the bow tie guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Personal branding. This guy, like the first time I watched one of his videos, personal branding extraordinaire, man. He's doing hip hop videos. He freestyles. He's got a brand that resonates, man.
That's right. He's got it going on. And he looks so good. He looks like he should be on a commercial. Hey, did I ever tell you when I was on a commercial? I was on like a real TV commercial.
Was it this?
Well, if your sales team sucks and you don't know what to do, call Deej 678-910-9912. Call Deej 678-910-9912.
That was it, right?
You are by far the best producer in the history of mankind. No, but actually, it was a real commercial. I had a lawn doctor franchise, and they were doing a national commercial, and they chose one of my customers had a beautiful lawn, and so they said, "Hey, well, let's make the commercial on that person's lawn." And so because of that, they allowed me to be in the commercial, and So I was in it, and I got to talk to one. I actually had to sign something. I was in the guild. We should have like a sales guild. It's a guild. So I had to sign this thing. I got into the guild, and I was talking to this one actress, and she said something that I always remembered. She said, she really was into it, and she wanted to get big and stuff, and she, probably never did. But I said, what kind of actor do you want to be? And she goes, I want to be the type. She said, like, who's the guy on Castaway? Like the big actor. What? Tom Hanks. Yeah. She goes, I want to be like Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is the type of guy you think if you could walk up to him in the street, he's approachable. He's likable. He has that brand about him. Even though he's excellent at what he does, he's that person that you kind of want to know and you think he'll help you and all that stuff. And that's really what sales is. Sales is being that brand of yourself that you're approachable, that people want to do business with you. And in that vein, we have a guest here today that most people I'm nervous, most big shots, and this guy's a big shot. most big shots, I'm nervous to call. And I say, could you please come on my show? Can you please do it? And all this stuff. But this guy, even though he's huge and he's awesome, and he's probably one of the best trainers out there, he's just so darn likable that it was easy for me to contact him, feel good about it. We hit it off right away, and he's coming on next. So why don't you introduce him?
Yeah, without further ado, would you please welcome to Dan Jordan Live, the Director of Sales Execution and Evolution of Jay Barrow's Sales Training. Hashtag SaywhatSales. If you're a salesperson, we're the same person. James, SaywhatSales. Buckley, what's poppin', James?
You got to put your arms in the air, brother. Come on. There you go.
What's poppin'? Sales Energizer, man. This is a long time coming. I can't believe it took us this long to get this on and make this happen. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited too.
Yeah,
no, be honest. Was that not the best introduction you've ever gotten?
I got to be honest. I've been introduced a lot, and that was up there. Top 3, no question. I will also say the opener for this show is flame. I mean, anyone that doesn't feel amazing after that opener, you're missing the boat.
Yeah, well, that's all Chris Stone right there. That's all Chris Stone. But you know, and really, and that's the whole thing, because you're in sales. Your first 2 seconds is all you got, to create that impression. And I
feel like it depends on the channel, Dan. I feel like it depends on the channel. I always say that there are 2 different types of salespeople out there. Salespeople that have the luxury of managing a pipeline, and salespeople that get one shot and one shot only. This is the difference between being a software sales rep that can hit you lots of times in lots of different ways and have lots of different touch points, and a car salesman that has 20 seconds. And if they don't get success in that 20 seconds, there's a good chance they're never going to see that person again.
Well, see, that's just money. You say, all right, I'm going to let them go. So how do you do that? First of all, so you are, James, SaywhatSales. That's the whole thing. You kind of know your personality branding there. Do you coach people to get their own type of brand like that? Like, how did you get that guy? That's a good one.
Yeah. So SaywhatSales started my second year as a SaaS SDR. So I joined a company that does Salesforce and inbox integration without knowing what Salesforce was. I had no idea. It was a mystery. This was 2015. Lots of people had experience in this realm. I had no experience in this realm. I cut my teeth doing door-to-door residential and door-to-door B2B. And in and out of that, I worked in kitchens for 15 years. I'm a great cook. My wife's not welcome in my kitchen. So that was where I was doing sales. And then I joined this SaaS sales role, and I start hitting the phones. And I love the phones. I'm a person that if you give me the opportunity, and probably a lot of people that are listening right now are going to be like, yo, he did that to me. If you're like, hey, I have a quick question for you, my immediate response is, great, here's my cell, call me. Right? I like getting cold calls. I like giving cold calls, doing cold calls. I love that stuff. It gets me excited. So I remember getting started there, having to learn everything I learned. And then I documented the journey. About 6 months in, I started talking to people online about what was working, what I learned, where I was headed. And in that moment, there was this huge opportunity for me to really develop this strategy of just putting content out there to help others that were either behind me or on this journey with me, or maybe just my perspective could be valuable to them. So I started doing this. And it wasn't long after that I put a post out and it went bananas on LinkedIn, and my pipeline immediately grew. So then I was like, I got to give this.
Let me just cut you off for 1 second. When you say it went bananas, what's the definition of going bananas?
Yeah. Let me give you a good one, because I get this question a lot about what's bananas to you, because viral, that term is sort of loosely used today. I put a post out there that was a suggested template, and this was the template. It was supposed to be a joke. And what it was, wouldn't it be honest? Wouldn't it be great if we could just be honest with our prospects? So here's my template. Hi, person, use the name. We could do this dance for 10 months where I reach out every couple days and really irritate you, or we can find 10 minutes this week or next week, have a quick conversation, and we'll know if we fit together. Work for you? I'll talk to you soon. That was it.
Bananas. That's
I woke
awesome.
up I woke up the next day to 219,000 views, a full inbox. People were like, I've been the genuine recipient of this template 4 times today. Other people are like, I scheduled 8 meetings today using this template. I was like, I was just kidding.
That is great. You know what? I feel cooler talking to you. He said something was flame. I'm still stuck on flame. What the hell is flame? I love flame. I want to be flame.
It's fire. It's hot.
Why that resonates with people is because James said what many people are afraid to say. Because they're afraid to be vulnerable. They're afraid to be transparent. They're afraid to be themselves, especially on LinkedIn. Well, maybe not so much now. I think that may be getting better, but I'd love your opinion on that. But I think people want to put on this persona. They don't want to be transparent. They don't want to own the person that they are and utilize that as their brand, as their authentic self, right?
I believe that people are okay with the fake them being rejected. But the real them being rejected is quite scary. You see this in servers at restaurants. They walk up to the table. You're talking to them in the back, and they're like, oh, yeah, totally. What are you doing this weekend? No, I'm having a good time. I've got people coming over. It's going to be good. They get out to the table, and they're like, hi, my name's Sam, and I'm going to be your server today. Right? And you're like, who the fuck is that? I don't even know that person. But they're okay with that person being judged by the people at that table that they don't even know, by the way. Right? They're okay with that. What they're not okay with is, hey, my name's Sam. Looking forward to a great evening tonight. I'm going to be your server. What can I get for you tonight? Right? It's something a little more smooth, a little more them, a little less forced.
Yes. Yeah. So you're a proponent, as am I, of total and complete honesty. There's nothing I love more than when you're calling somebody and they say, is this a cold call? I'm like, yes, this is as cold as it gets. This is freezing. I literally don't even know the name of your company. I'm looking at your name on a piece, totally honest. And more likely than not, they accept and you can move on. It's totally, a lot of people, ironically, feel sorry for you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Listen, I know you're working hard doing this. I know it's very difficult. I'm like, it's the best thing in my life. People are scared of it. Even you talked about LinkedIn earlier, and a lot of people reach out to you. You get a lot of these automated emails.
I do, but my go-to is if it can be automated, I straight up ask. That's my response. Hey, man, thanks for reaching out. Happy to be connected. Quick question. Is this an automated message? If more than like an hour a day goes by and they don't respond, I assume this was an automated message. And there's a great chance that I remove that person from my network. I like human beings. Please connect with me and be a human being.
Yeah. And by the way, if somebody wants to connect with you, what do they need to do?
So they can call me. I do tell people all the time, I love cold calls. Don't get me wrong. I will critique your cold call, but you can always call me 305-632-6005. I hope you wrote that down fast enough. You can email me, james@jbarrows.com. I respond if I am available. It's less than 12 hours. I am hyper responsive. I don't play the my time is too valuable for you game. I think that's BS. So I call BS on anyone that plays that game. Or you can follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. Hashtag SaywhatSales is pretty easy to find. And I did that on purpose, you might imagine.
Yeah. And I think that people don't realize that you're not alone where you like getting cold calls and you like people to call you, especially right now. People are kind of craving human. I did in-person cold calls yesterday, literally walked into places. And I say, hey, I'm one of those salesman type characters. Don't I look it? And they laughed and they say, well, who do you need to see? And I give I had actual meetings with people, grateful as all get out that I was there. So people, because a lot of times on LinkedIn, people will, approach me. It's an automation or not an automation. I say the same thing as you. I say, hey, you want to get together for a 15-minute conversation to find out about each other?
Yep.
80% never reply to that.
I'm blown away at the amount of people that never respond or the amount of people that go for the pitch right there. And then when you're like, hey, this is a little disjointed, like I'm happy to have a conversation, but like, please don't pitch me in your DM, that's not okay. I don't know you for that, right? Like you got to earn the right to do that stuff. So it's amazing to me that people will often be like, here's my pitch. And you're like, that's not really what I asked for. Let's actually have a words conversation. Here's my phone number. And they're like, no, thanks. Have a great day. I'm like, what just happened? What is happening in this moment?
They got
scared. Your job to talk to people? That's your job.
Yeah. And well, it's a lot of times they don't know what to say. By the way, if you don't know what to say, you'll see if you're watching this scrolling down below, there's a little text you can go do. If you text DEEJ, capital DEEJ to 55678, put your name there too, so I know who it is. You'll get downloaded. I got a great script for you. Really easy for you just to get in touch with people and start the conversation. You won't be pitching. You'll be starting the conversation. And so it's really good. Capital D at 55678. Just check it out below. But that's the thing. Why do you think people go into their pitch right away?
I think they're programmed that way. And I think leadership doesn't do a good enough job teaching them what's really important. So this is kind of a generational gap too. Our Gen Xers and older are hyper focused on volume because in the days of just cold calling, just knocking on doors, you played the law of averages. So as more doors you can knock on, the more people you can talk to. The more people you can talk to, the more conversations you can have. The more conversations equals more opportunities. And they play that volume game. But today there are so many other channels, and young people know how to leverage them really well to get people to engage. And that is what we are after when we're prospecting. Not the opportunity to pitch. We're after engagement. And I got to be upfront here. A lot of the engagement that we get isn't directly tied back to this concept of let's connect, have a conversation, I'll end up pitching you and you'll get a deal. No. Instead, what's changing and what's happened over the course of time, especially this year, is SDRs are shifting to be more focused on top of the funnel, and it's not necessarily geared towards that next step or that action. Instead, what you see is 3 or 4 conversations with an SDR that are very get to know you, and then they download a white paper. And then they download the white paper. Maybe they attend an event that you do. And then the SDR calls them. Hey, thanks for coming to the event. What were your takeaways? And they're like, oh, man, I got so much out of it. The SDR's like, I'm going to send you some resources. They send the resources. And before you know it, they're inbound. Hey, I need information on training. And you're like, what? This person did not even pitch them. It's amazing how this happens. And leaders everywhere are starting to see this pattern form just by going back in your closed ops and looking at the history. And saying, oh my gosh, this person has talked to our SDR like 4 times.
So what do you suggest? Now you're in the business of training companies to do just what you said, and the verbiage to use and how to that sales enablement kind of piece that you're adding to it. So someone's just getting started. They are old school trained. I need to pound. And here's the problem. It still kind of works.
It's always going to work. Numbers don't lie. So I agree with you.
Where do they start? How does the shift happen? How do you take somebody and make that shift?
Well, think about the difference in employee right there. If you have somebody that's young and they understand the tech behind it and the social media aspect and all the different touch points that they might be able to go through to really be a part of somebody's routine, that's very effective, but it takes a long time. Right? There's not a lot of volume involved in that play. And then you have the other one that's high volume, right? These are the people that get a script and they just go ape shit on the phones. They're like, hey, what's up? This is James with JB Sales. I'm calling to talk about training. Do you have some time? When can we set it up? They go and they do it over. Oh, I don't have time right now. Okay, thanks. I'll call you tomorrow. And they move on to the next one, right? Boop. Okay. Hey, what's up? This is James, right? It just starts all over again. You got to find the balance. You need both. If you can do both, you are unstoppable in today's selling environment. If I can take my 150 calls that are kind of ho-hum and turn it into 50 to 70 quality touches across multiple channels, not only does my quality step up, but my response rate steps up because I am both personalized and relevant and timely, and there's no stopping me from consistently being professionally persistent, as we like to call it.
Yes. You see, that's Chris Stone, remember when I was talking about the sales army of one? That's what it is. Today's salesperson, you can't just be one or the other. You got to be the whole package. And I recommend with salespeople, bring it with you. You need to be not only be an expert with your CRM that you use, you need to own it yourself. I mean, bring your own CRM into a package. Hey, listen, this is my database. I'm rocking and rolling. These are my customers. I just got a different product I want to move. You know, when you get to the mindset that as a professional salesperson, you're not getting hired for a job and selling a product. You're just looking for another add-on for more income, baby. You are the package, and you're looking for other vehicles for more income.
I believe that salespeople are, let me rephrase, I believe that salespeople that fit the role are great at lots of things. The trouble is that leadership often will silo them into one thing that they believe they might be good at, without really ever getting to know all the different ways a salesperson can be effective. Great example. When I started building SaywhatSales and I started to give it a name and really start calling it something, and I came up with the catchphrase, right? If you're a salesperson, we're the same person. I was not met with open arms by my existing marketing team. Instead, they were like, this guy is a threat to our content. He pulls attention away from our efforts, right? You have to earn the right. And the way to earn the right to do this and be out there the way that we all need to be effective in today's selling environment is by tracking the data. What's working? What can I tie back to revenue? Hey, I put this video out. I got 36 comments. 4 of the people that commented set meetings with me. 2 of them closed in less than 90 days. When you start saying shit like that, your CEO is like, I need everyone doing this. Instead of, hey, marketing, we're going to shut this guy down. They're like, yo, this is different and unique, and that's awesome.
And I think that's what's so cool about Barrows, because you, and I guess who is Ingram in there too? You guys have your own personality.
Yeah.
Morgan, your own brands, all in the same family, because they sees the value in that. And I think that companies are going to start seeing that same thing. Don't try to turn somebody average. I always tell people, our clients, when you're hiring people, a lousy salesperson is better than an average one. The average ones will do just good enough to stick around to make the whole darn place average. I go, you don't want that. You want personalities. You want people who want to grow for themselves and are using you as the vehicle.
I think what really stands out to me about John is that he is the same person that you see online in real life. When he brought me on and he said, you're one of us now. My job is to enable you to be successful. He is not a helicopter mom CEO. He has no interest in watching every move I make. Instead, he's like, where can I help you grow? Where would you like to focus? Right? We have one-on-ones, and that's what they're about. How different is that from your average one-on-one that's like, what are your metrics? Where are you at on your goals? All that stuff is important, and all of it gets said at the same time, but there's a bigger conversation in those conversations that him and I have, that him and Morgan have, that me and Morgan have. And when you're talking about building a sales team that can reach a broad audience, what you need is a broad reach. So developing that personal brand makes you valuable for every single company you work for throughout your career until you find the one that you want to retire from, which I think I found.
You are brilliant beyond your years. How old are you?
I am 38.
38.
Yeah.
Gosh, have you done any living in 38? What do you do? I mean, what's your story?
So I have a very unlikely story. If you'd asked anybody 20 years ago where James Buckley is today, they would tell you dead or in prison. They would not tell you that I am where I am doing what I'm doing. I'm from Miami, Florida. And if you know anything about South Florida, you know that cocaine is abundant down there. It's very easy to get. I had a real problem, and I removed myself from the situation and sobered up and moved to East Tennessee. Once I did that, I started college. My wife got me into classes. I ended up getting a degree. I was 34, graduating with a bachelor's degree. I have 4 children at the time. So
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Same woman?
No, that didn't work out. So because I moved and I changed my ways in my life, you know, one day you wake up and things are different. You go through divorces, things happen. You know, dude, like if I could tell you that it's the most heart-wrenching story, like I hold the crown for like worst divorce situation ever. I promise there's no one out there that tops my story. Anybody that wants to challenge that, by all means, send me your divorce story. I will send you 3 sentences and you will disagree that yours is worse than mine.
That's what we're talking about here.
However,
here on DJ Lives, the worst divorce stories. Come on and all. All right, so finish. I'm sorry.
Throw them out my way. I want them, right? But you come out on top. I got an education on Facebook. Somebody I went to college with posted that their company was looking for salespeople. At the time, I had been in and out of sales. So I was like, yeah, I've got some sales experience. I'd like to learn more. I had one interview, again, from Miami. Yo habla mucho español. So we had the interview. We talked a lot in Spanish throughout that interview. He ended up reaching back out to me and saying, come back in. Let's do a second interview. We played ping pong at that interview. And he offered me that job on the spot. And I was there for 4 years. And in my second year, SaywhatSales was born. Last year, I joined a data governance company and I became their brand ambassador. Best experience ever, sitting in front of that camera, learning about data, talking about data. And then at the end of last year, John called me and said, the way you make people feel is amazing. What do you think about coming on board full time so you can make my people feel that way? And I believe my exact words were, just tell me when to start.
Well, that went in all sorts of directions now, didn't it, Chris Stone?
Well, you know what I got to say is, you know what everyone loves is a story, right? But you know what everyone loves more than a story is a comeback.
Short story.
A comeback story, man. And,
oh, yeah.
You know, and so, you know, you said you were either going to be dead or in jail. And there's a lot of people that have gone through what you have done that have ended up in both of those spots. So
they talk to me all the time. I tell that story openly. And every time I tell it on a platform like this, I get 4 or 5 messages afterwards that go, dude, help me. Or dude, I know exactly where you come from. And let me just say this so that everyone can know those types of messages are worth more to me than any dollar that I could ever earn in this career.
Well, by the way, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and put them in here. I'm sure he'll answer them.
We've got a bunch coming up. I was looking for a moment when one of you.
I have one first.
Well, it's your show. You get to do whatever you want.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's what everybody wants to know, but nobody asks. So who won the ping pong game?
Yeah, so I do really well in the sense that I will play anybody that challenges me and use my sandal as a paddle first.
Ooh. So point taken. There we go. He was prepared for that.
Yeah.
That boy was prepared for that. Jeez.
I have beaten many a man with my sandal instead of a paddle. But I will also say there are several out there that have really taken me to school. I had a guy once beat me with a dip can instead of a paddle.
A dip can?
It's about this big around, Dan.
I know.
Yeah.
I used to have a lawn care company. Everybody did dip. It was the funniest because guys are checking out other guys' rear ends to see if they have that little circle in their pocket, so they say, hey, can I get some dip?
Yeah, I gave up tobacco 3 years ago. Best move I ever made.
Oh, you've made a lot of best moves.
Is lighting up the YouTube chat here, and he's got you guys were talking a lot about cold calls and about balancing both of those, and so he's in the UK and he believes that the honest enthusiasm of the US doesn't translate to the cold cynicism of the old world UK.
100% true.
Yeah, that's right.
When he's confronted about it, he gets hung up on.
Yeah.
So let me give you one that works in the UK, works in Europe too. And it's one that we give out in our training. When you do the cold call and you have your opener, short and simple is great. So when they answer, you need to know that that's the person you're calling. And then you need to say, do you have a minute before your next phone call? That's all you're looking for is the minute. Do you have a minute before your next call, before your next meeting? So there are 3 things this does. If you also add thanks for taking the call, you've done a few things in this opener. 1, thanks for taking the call. Nobody gets thanked for taking cold calls. Pattern interrupt right away, right? Do you have a moment? Is you acknowledging subconsciously with them that they're busy and they don't have time and this is unplanned. So thank you for taking the call. Do you have a moment? And then the last thing is, before your next meeting, I have now stolen your ability to go, I'm in a meeting and can't take this call, and then hang up on me. So threefold, you beat them to the punch and you're like, do you have a moment? It can only be answered one of three ways. They're going to say, yes, I have a moment, in which case you've earned the right to keep talking. They're going to say, no, I don't have a moment. Your response is, I'll call you tomorrow. Thank you. Right? And then you actually call them tomorrow. You'll be surprised how many people stop you and say, wait, you'll call me tomorrow? Who's this? And now you've earned the right to keep talking anyway, right? Because they don't want that call tomorrow. Or they just straight up say, maybe, who's this? And again, you've earned the right to keep talking. So try that. I promise it's straightforward enough for those regions that people do respond in a very human nature way, because it's straightforward, because there's no fluff. I have a friend that I'm connected with, Bilal, Death to Fluff. This dude is a genius word-wise. And these are quick and short and simple value adds that we train on that work really well.
That's great. And I'll add to that, depending on who you're calling. If you're calling on a sales VP, I've been really successful with, hello, Mr. Jones. I wonder if you could help me. My name's Dan, and this is a cold call. Would you like to hang up on me?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, that works well. But for sales, like sales VPs, that'll work well because that's how they got there, and that's all fun. But it's fine to say. It's fine to say it, and you go right in. But yeah, you're right. I did a speech in, I'm sure you've done it too, but in England, in London, and I'm pretty outgoing, and I got a lot of jokes and all. Dead. I mean, like nothing, no smiles, just nothing. And when I finished, they're like, man, that was awesome. That was the greatest speech we've ever done, all that stuff. I'm like, well, how about a peep?
I never would have known, right?
And they stand up so straight, and everyone's so polite. I'm like, what is going on? Then they drink like fish after they're done. Yeah. But
it's just a different culture. It's just a different culture of sales over there. And it's a different culture of business altogether. John and Morgan and Chris and the team here, we're all really focused on this, earth-wide approaches and the differences between the way that we function in sales on different continents. It's really amazing, the things that you pick up. For example, did you know that when a Japanese leader hands you their business card, you should hold it the entire time they speak to you?
Right.
Don't put it in your pocket. That's a cultural difference.
Yeah, it's a real insult. It's a real insult not to do stuff like that. But, you only have to screw up with that once, and then you figure it out. You only have to.
Well, if they're kind enough to tell you why, then you figure it out.
Yeah, a lot of you just have to learn those things once. But you're absolutely right. So you like the cold call, and when you have the person's name, do you ask for it? There are times where I just say, it's the same thing as if I'm speaking to the receptionist. Who would be the person I need to speak with regarding this? And even if I know their name and I know it's the right person, I'll say that who would be the person we work with sales trading. Who would be the person I need to speak with in regards to that? Because I like for them to say, oh, that would be me.
Yeah. So first,
so do you do that, or do you go through their name? What's your program?
Yeah. So first, let me tell you, there's a few pieces to this puzzle. And I'll tell you that when I'm calling somebody, if I know that person, if I have a history with that person and I know that that's their direct number, I don't have to ask if it's them if I have a history. If I don't have a history and this is cold, there's one thing that I find that salespeople do the most. They have an upward inflection in their opener when they ask if they're speaking to the right person. This sounds like this. Hi, is this Dan? Is this Dan? And what that does is immediately put you on your heels, right? Now let's do it this way. I'm going to cold call you and I'm going to say, Dan Jordan, please.
Yes, sir.
That downward inflection is an enormous difference for the way that the recipient hears it, internalizes it, and then takes action. I sound authoritative. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm confident instead of questioning. Is this Dan? Right? Like, I don't know if this is worth your time.
So these are the things, these are the small little nuances that are the difference between good, okay, and excellent. And it's all the cadence that he's doing so natural. The definition of a genius is someone who says something that you already have said to yourself. And so, I think you're like a genius, but you say it much better. You know,
I don't know if I'm a genius or if I'm just willing to admit where I need improvement all the time. Because all these things, like I got that nugget from Chet Holmes. I don't know if you follow or know who Chet Holmes is.
Poor
but
Chet Holmes died a young man.
He sure did. And I'll tell you what, the lessons you get from going on YouTube and looking up Chet Holmes are amazing. Like the stuff you can get from that type of resourcefulness, man, it's all out there for you. There's no excuse today for not improving your business acumen, your language, your delivery. There's no excuse. We have every resource at our disposal to be able to get better at this job. And if you don't have it right in front of you, it's so easily accessed. We're so well connected today. There are other people like me out there that will give you the time and help you get over a hurdle. I think I did over 400 frontline sales rep calls this year. And I was blown away at how many people struggle with the same stuff in different ways.
400. Do you hear that? 400 frontline sales calls this year.
Yeah,
that's a good goal for you. So look, we're coming up to the end here. Leave us with some good nuggets. Usually I like to leave with a big, so pretend here you are, right? You're on a stage. There's 10,000 people in the audience. They've just heard your whole pitch. They love you. They're thinking, man, this is coming to the end. You're right at the end. You want to give them a send off. And Chris Stone, at the end, you just make it go boom. You do something big. You want to make a send off. Sure. Let them know, James. Say what sales. What do I need to know before you walk off the stage?
Yeah, let's do it. So I was prepared for this. I want you guys to think about 2021 in this lens, as the role of sales development is shifting dramatically. And my prediction is that leaders will finally realize that there are lots of types of sales development reps. The three primary groups to look out for in 2021 are your front of the sales cycle SDRs, cold outreach, cold emails, connections on LinkedIn and other networks, starting conversations with people who have no idea who you are. That is the first group. The second group is sitting at the end of the marketing cycle. These are people that are taking action, joining events, downloading white pages. And those people need to be followed up with, hey, saw you took this action, whatever it is, several times over, and would love a conversation with you around why you've been engaging with our content. That's a whole different kind of conversation. And then the third group, these are people that are literally reaching out to people, responding. I need more time. I need more information. What can you tell me?
You are a monster. So the only thing, you got to make sure you get John Barrows on the show. I want to thank everybody else for watching. Make sure if you're looking for that script, text Deej at 55678. And just remember, all these tools that he says, it's the best time in the world to be in the sales profession. It really is. There's so many resources all over the place at your discretion to get. The only thing you have to do is hop on the dang phone and make it happen. You do that today, it's your best day ever, in the best career ever, in the best country ever. You go get them today.